Hello, everybody, and I'm excited to be here because it's Monday Makeover with Robin White, our web designer. I love this, Robin. This is one of my favorite lives for sure.
Oh, good. I love it too. It's really fun, isn't it?
It is fun because you know what? For free, you are taking certain people's website pages and you're giving them a critique through the eyes of an experienced web designer, and that is a benefit that not everybody gets. So I love that we're able to offer that in my group and on my YouTube and all that fun stuff. I just want to check one thing because it says I'm having trouble going live on LinkedIn, but I think it might have corrected itself. Okay. All right. So Robin, tell me what we're talking about today.
Sure. So today we are looking at Deborah Gregg Interiors website. And thank you very much, Deborah, for volunteering to have us do a mini audit. And we're going to be looking specifically at her testimonials page. And I would love to just explain a little bit before we go in to look at the website about how important testimonials are on your interior design website. And the reason that they're such an important component is they establish credibility. And we all know that know, like, and trust factor is so important. So testimonials are so great because they're not strong sales pitches. They're not your words tooting your own horn. They're an actual client who's worked with you singing your praises. So they carry an enormous amount of weight. And your ex-clients, your past clients can be the best brand ambassadors that you can have. So it's really important to ask for testimonials because they can be the best promoters of your business.
Yeah. And I would say one of the things I teach all my clients is sometimes you don't have to wait till the end to ask for it. You actually are getting them naturally in between, right? Like I'm getting messages all the time from my clients. Oh my God, I'm using the key and I've never gotten this level of design fee before and I got it this time. Like that's built in. I didn't have to say, what do you think of the key, right? So when you hear your client say, oh my God, this living room came out better than I could have possibly imagined right there at that moment, even though you're not going to be done with that person's house for 3 more months, you can say, thank you so much. Can I use your words as a testimonial? Right?
Yes, absolutely. That is brilliant, Nancy. I mean, we just want to take it when we can get it. It doesn't have to be at the end for sure. And it doesn't have to be long. Just what you said, that short sentence or two about how amazing the key is, that's enough.
Right, right. Or if someone's saying, oh my God, I love this sofa. My husband and I are so happy with it. You can use that sentence as a testimonial for proof that you knew how to pick out a perfect sofa, possibly without having a client sit on it, all because you're an interior designer, right? So these are things you want to capture, these testimonials. But like now, what do we do with them on our web pages?
Yeah, excellent. So let's share the screen. And so I'm just going to click over to that.
Okay, I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to get rid of you and me off of the screen and just hear our voices then.
Great.
And then me. Okay, so
fabulous.
Seems to not show her full. Let me try changing something on the screen. Hold on. There we go. I can change that. There you go.
Perfect. Okay. So here we are on Deborah's testimonials page. And I just want to begin by sharing that I personally am not a huge fan of separate testimonials pages. And the reason is I don't think many visitors to your website will actually click over to that page. And my thought process behind that is people have short attention spans. Everybody's always in a rush. So a lot of times prospects visiting your website are going to hit your main pages, home, services, about, contact, and they may not portfolio, obviously, and they may not have the time to go over to a separate testimonials page. So what I usually recommend is using excerpts from your testimonials on all the other pages of your website. So, for example, on your About page, you could choose an excerpt from a testimonial that speaks directly to what it's like to work with you and what your personality is like. And on your services pages, you could choose an excerpt that speaks directly to that specific service.
Okay, so your feeling is that a separate testimonials page isn't always need to be a separate page. You can just take your individual testimonials, take snippets of them or pieces of them or their full sentences and paragraphs and put them throughout your site. So while other people are looking at the pretty pictures, reading about you, they're reading also these little sidebars perhaps or breaks in the
Exactly.
page.
So that social proof, let's say, about the service or about you is right there where the client is reading about the service or about you.
Okay, so in Deborah's case here, there is a separate testimonials page. Now, I'll weigh in also that I think it would be if you can have a separate testimonials page and can afford it and want it and you can make it look beautiful. I don't mind having it, but I also don't mind having some of those testimonials repeated or additional testimonials repeated throughout the other pages. Like, so if we go to Deborah Gregg's home page, does she have any testimonials fed through?
So there is, I'll click over to it and I'm hoping, let me see, it will work. She does have one, but it's not letting me click over to it right now.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Usually screen share shouldn't affect the navigating.
Yeah, it's just spinning, so it could be my.
Oh, okay. Here it comes.
There we go. Can you see that, Nancy?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to scroll down, and Deborah does have one right here.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And I do like that she calls it words of affirmation. But one thing that I would give as a suggestion here is to design this section a little bit differently, because while this scrolling effect is kind of cool, I don't know how long someone's going to actually stay still and wait for it to completely scroll through to read it.
Yes.
So perhaps having the testimonial written out, and maybe if she wants a motion effect, maybe it can fade in or fade in from the left or from the right or up or down, and have a motion effect that way. But then the visitors can actually read the full testimonial without waiting for it to scroll through.
Yeah, because as it's going, I'm like, okay, done. And I'm like, my body's wanting to click out of it.
Yes, exactly. Right? Exactly. But I'll click back to the testimonials page. There we go. That went a lot faster. Yes. And Nancy, I do agree with you. I mean, I think it's personal preference if you want to have a testimonials page or not. So there's really no right or wrong when it comes to that.
Right.
On Deborah's page, something that I really love that she's doing is in her menu, she calls the page testimonials, which is what you want to call it. That's sort of the known word. People know exactly what it is. There's no confusion. But I love that she's gotten creative on the page itself and calls it words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that she has a thank you to her clients right below it. I think that's really a very kind.
Yeah, I like that. I don't think I've seen that before. And it's
no,
really
I haven't either. And I really thought that was it's very warm and inviting. Yes. I liked that she did that. Something that I would recommend in that top of the page area is to maybe have an image of her beautiful work there and put these words as an overlay over the image, just to add some visual interest to the page.
Yes.
Okay, and let's go down. I'm just going to scroll a bit through the testimonials so everybody can see them.
So yeah, I could see it's just kind of words, one after the other, as opposed to breaking the eye with some imagery or something.
Exactly. So something that Deborah is doing really great here is I love that she's included the location of the client, because that is really good for local SEO. And I also really like that the client's name is in a different color and it stands out. So that's giving some visual interest to the page, but it is a lot of text. And something that I recommend when you do decide to have a dedicated page for testimonials is to really make sure that it's laid out well. And I recommend adding a lot of images to the page, so it's not just text. And what interior designers can do is find an image from the project and use that with the testimonial.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And there's lots of different ways that you can do that with layout. I mean, you can do image on top and testimonial below, and maybe set it up as two different columns and alternate it. You could do an image next to the testimonial. You could even do the image behind and do text overlay over the image. And you don't have to do an image for every single one. But as long as you've got, several images on there, just to kind of visually break up the blocks of text, which can be tiring sometimes for the eyes to look at.
Yes.
Yeah. And staggering the testimonials can often be a good idea. So if you have like a 2-column setup with, let's say, image and testimonials, maybe the next testimonial isn't right next to it, but maybe just a little offset below it, right? So again, lots of different design layout options to
I'm craving emojis, bold, a little image, like something to break my eye a little bit to this from the straight reading straight down. So
and
all of your suggestions are great ones.
Yeah. The other thing that you can do, if it's a slightly longer testimonial, is you can pull out a sentence or a phrase and put that at the very top of the testimonial in a much larger font size, and then have the full testimonial below it. So again, if someone is just skimming and scrolling through the page, that phrase will pop out more.
Yes, it's like you could do it as the title of that paragraph, or bold or italic or color. Yeah.
Exactly. Lots of different ways to make that stand out. And again, you always want to design your website to appeal to the various different buying personalities. So, if you have the quick start at one end of the spectrum, they're not going to read a full testimonial. They're just going to skim through the page. So having that one phrase be bigger, bolder, italicized, they'll see that and keep scrolling through. Whereas someone who's more of like a researcher buying personality is going to read every single word. So that way the page is designed for the full spectrum of the different personalities.
Yes, so important. It's so important to capture different types of people's reading styles, scanning styles, what they would be interested in these little ways. Love it.
Exactly. So I'll just scroll through, and, kudos to Deborah for having so many testimonials here. I mean, this is really fantastic. Obviously, she's a great and talented interior designer. Her clients are happy working with her. So this is fantastic. She's got an enormous amount of social proof here. She might want to just take a look at what this blank white space is here.
Oh, is there more underneath that? I thought maybe that was the end. Oh.
No, there's a couple more. And this one's interesting because it's all in a different color and a larger font size. So that's actually, it's another way to add visual interest. So maybe some of the testimonials are one font size and one color, and some are another font size and another color, and that can add the visual interest and sort of.
Okay, but let's be clear here, Robin, that we don't want people you put your image, your emojis, your bold, your titles, your this, like everything we suggested all in one thing. Like, no, you want to pick and choose your style for your testimonials and then stick to that. Try not to throw in every possibility of styling, because then it becomes too busy. Correct?
Exactly. These are just lots of different suggestions that can work, but you want to pick, one and have the page be consistent with whatever you decide to do to add visual interest to it.
Yes.
And then consistent throughout. So, if you do decide to alternate the font size and color, then that's what you're doing throughout the page, and maybe not much else, because that's offering a lot of visual interest on its own.
So, Robin, question for you.
Mhm.
Do people who hire you to do their web design, their websites, do they say, just go do with whatever you want with the testimonials? Or do you make suggestions for well, you're getting a feel for their style?
Right. So usually they have me do whatever I want. If they have a strong feeling about wanting a testimonials page, I will obviously do that for them. But the majority of the clients that I work with prefer to just have the excerpts on different pages. And where we will highlight the full testimonial from the client is on their portfolio project page.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
not the
along with the
main.
picture maybe, or the story or something.
Yes, exactly. On the page with the story with all of the images, we'll put the full testimonial there.
Awesome.
Yeah, because
Okay.
that adds more words to the page, which again is going to help Google think that there's enough content on the page to index it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And sometimes if they're not doing a testimonials page, it gives them an option to have a different page that they've been thinking about, or
Exactly.
gives you more air in your website, which is good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
for those who are newer to their professions and they are always worried about, I don't have enough testimonials for a testimonial page, it highlights the fact that I don't have enough testimonials sometimes when you have a testimonials page for a newer designer, right?
Yes, that's very true. Very true. And the nice thing then about using excerpts from, let's say, the few testimonials that you do have when you're starting out is you can use one testimonial many different times on different pages because you're taking different snippets from it.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Good point. Good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other suggestions for the testimonial page for Deborah?
Well, I always like to look at the footer. So I love that she's got her contact information in the footer and links to some of the other pages on her website, just to make things really easy for people. And I love that she's got her location there. And a couple of suggestions that I have would be adding links to her social media accounts in this area.
Mhm.
Also adding legal policies. And I would actually recommend potentially embellishing the location part, which again can help with local SEO. So potentially explaining where her design studio is located, and listing out some towns and not just the counties. That can help matching up IP addresses for local SEO.
I'm trying to show the page fully better. That's why I'm playing around with the way the left, it just says Greg Interiors instead of Deborah
Okay,
Gregg.
so it actually says Deborah Gregg Interiors. It lists out her telephone number, and it says Broward and Palm Beach counties.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're saying for the location, you can add to that.
Yeah, so maybe she wants to add Palm Beach Gardens, Fort Lauderdale. I can't think of some of the other.
In other words, any towns that she serves, you can add
Exactly.
to that footer, and that's going to help you be found in those
That
towns.
can help for sure. For
Okay.
sure. Yeah,
Okay,
but she's
cool.
doing a really nice job. And I'm actually going to come back and stop sharing.
Okay. Okay, now I have to switch this. Woo! Okay, well, the different things I have to press to get this back. So,
And one last thing I'd love to mention, Nancy, is on the other pages of your website where you are including snippets of testimonials, one place that can be a good area to have it is near your call to action. So let's just say your main call to action for your website is to contact you. And you've got that, at the bottom of your homepage, and there's a button that takes them over to your contact page. If you have a testimonial right above that call to action, just think about the flow of that and how that makes sense, right? So someone's on the fence about whether they want to click over and contact you, and then they're seeing this fantastic glowing testimonial. That might be enough to push a prospect over the edge to actually fill out your contact form.
I think so. And, we always try to pick testimonials that talk to the call to action also, right? So if it's talk to me, set an appointment, you want a testimonial. If you have one that says my conversation with so-and-so was amazing, she was able to, or he was able to. If you have a testimonial like that, that's the kind of testimonial you line up with a call to action. Right?
For sure.
So it's these little decisions that sometimes you need an external person to make because you're too close to the situation yourself.
Yes. And that's where a website designer and even a copywriter can come in and be incredibly helpful and offer that professional advice.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Robin, for reviewing Deborah Gregg. And thank you for Deborah for allowing us to review her testimonials page live, because I know that can be very intimidating.
It can, but we're very nice, and there's always a lot of positives that we point out. And if anybody would like to volunteer their website, I think we are really good to go through the fall. But after that, we would love to take a look at your website. So drop it in the comments, send me a message, and we'd be happy to schedule you.
Awesome. And Robin, if someone just goes, you know what, it's time for me to have a new website. It's time. It's been 2, 3, 4, 5 years. They need a rebranding. They need a redo. They did their first one themselves and they need you. How do they get you?
Sure. So my website is rdwdesignstudio.com. And you can also reach out to me on Instagram, which is at RDW Design Studio. And if you follow me there, I will always follow back interior designers. And I post a lot of really helpful tips.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Robin. And yes, you do always post a lot of helpful tips. And of course, give us a ton of helpful tips here. And I notice you participate a lot in the comments too when people are talking about websites and stuff. So Robin's one of the experts in our group. So utilize her knowledge for everything you need. And of course, when you're ready to redo your website, reach out to Robin to get your estimate and her views on your website. All right. I will talk to you next month, Robin. Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. Bye.
Right. Bye, everyone. Go have a great day.